One thing I do want to say, y'all, and I got a lot of thumbs down for this, but y'all need to know the truth, y'all. What Letitia James said in her press conference, that the federal government cannot require the states to enforce federal law. Y'all, that's just a fact, okay? That is not my opinion. And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, y'all. You know it helps us out a ton, and it helps you because it helps us. Now, y'all know I am in the world's loudest country. You probably hear some music in the background. You know how back when we were kids, people would play their music real loud, y'all? Maybe some of y'all probably still live in areas where they do that, but not my area. Anyway, where I am right now, they still do that, and there's no way to stop it. So, you know, your boys got to bring you the news every day anyway. So, you know, we're going to just keep it pushing. Now, y'all, today what I'm going to talk about is what we've been talking about for the past few months, y'all. It is the battle between the state governments and the federal government. Now, as you may know, Pam Bondi is now the Attorney General for the United States of America. She has been confirmed by the Senate, and she is our Attorney General. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that she is going to have the power to launch investigations into criminals and into potential criminal activity. Now, as you know, over the past several years, Donald Trump has been the subject of numerous investigations on the state level, and he has had criminal prosecutions. He's had civil situations. He's had Fonnie Willis in Georgia who's come after him. He's had Alvin Bragg who's come after him with the support, as far as I can tell, in New York, with the support of the Attorney General, Letitia James. This has set up a super showdown. Trump is back in power. He has put Pam Bondi in position. And one would imagine that he feels himself to be totally innocent of all wrongdoing. And he would feel that those who came after him may have been committing crimes against him. Coming after him unjustifiably is what he would say, right? So now that you have Pam Bondi in position to launch her own investigations into those who investigated Trump, and you have Trump in more or less of an immune situation where for the next 4 years, he's kind of untouchable, you know, more or less by these state actors. They really can't do anything to him legally. So he is in a position to touch them while they cannot touch him. So let's take a look at one of the key battlegrounds which is shaping up, which is the immigration question, y'all. There are so many battlegrounds shaping up, y'all. Just get ready, y'all. The next several years are going to be years of battles, okay? It's already clear. We voted for it. We knew it was going to happen. Here we are. So let's take a look at this news report about one of the coming battles around immigration.
Washington now, and Pam Bondi sworn in today as Attorney General.
All right, one of her first directives ordering the Justice Department to pause funding for sanctuary cities, a list which, of course, includes New York City. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso live in Midtown with what this could mean for New York. Jessica.
Stephen, Natasha, that's right. She is not wasting any time and has put out a memo which essentially says that sanctuary cities and states that do not cooperate and interfere with enforcement operations will not be getting any federal funding. As you just said, New York City is a sanctuary city and it does not cooperate with ICE and deportation proceedings. Now, take a look. This is the 3-page memo. It says state and local actors may not impede, obstruct, or otherwise fail to comply with lawful immigration-related directives. Bondi has also directed a 60-day pause on distribution of funds as they identify and evaluate all funding agreements with non-governmental organizations that provide support to, quote, illegal aliens. According to the think tank Center for Immigration Studies, in 2023, the DOJ provided $1.56 billion in funding to sanctuary cities. The U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, a not-for-profit international organization dedicated to addressing the needs and rights of refugees and immigrants says such actions could disrupt critical programs funded by federal dollars, including public safety initiatives, disaster relief, housing support, and healthcare services. These cuts are not just an attack on immigrants, they are an assault on the well-being of every resident in these cities. Here's Randy Zellen, former prosecutor.
It's not simply you're a sanctuary city, you get no money from mom and dad. What I understand it to mean is that if you are a sanctuary city, and from this point going forward, you do anything to obstruct or impair or impede the Trump administration's efforts to enforce its immigration policies, if you get in the way of ICE, if you do anything to make it difficult for the administration, at that point, you will be subject to having your funding cut off.
It is unclear how this will affect New York City. We know the mayor has been speaking with ICE, and the NYPD has been assisting ICE with those migrants with a criminal record. We know Mayor Adams will be in D.C. tomorrow attending a national prayer breakfast where President Trump will also be in attendance. We have also learned the mayor will be testifying before the House Congressional Oversight Committee on Sanctuary Cities on March 5th. Now back to Bondi and her directives. She has set up a group, the so-called weaponization group, to investigate those who have investigated President Trump and have brought criminal and federal charges against the president. On that list, former special counsel Jack Smith, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, and New York State Attorney Letitia James. That's the latest we have from Midtown tonight. I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News. Steve, Natasha.
All right, thanks, Jessica.
Now, as you can see at the end of that report, the reporter says, look, there are a few people who might be in the crosshairs. You have Alvin Bragg, you have Jack Smith, who is the federal prosecutor who was going after Trump, and then you have Letitia James, okay? Now, Letitia James, to me, you have Fani Willis also, who's in Georgia, but she's just embroiled in so much, and she's also kind of frankly a lesser figure than Letitia James, because Fani is a local prosecutor where Letitia is a state prosecutor. Maybe there's no true, real difference, but I just feel like because Fani has this whole boyfriend, Nathan Wade thing, she's being dragged down. She has her own state investigating her. She's kind of like with a huge, anchor around her neck, and she really can't do anything or go anywhere. She's already been taken off of the Trump case. She's becoming a non-figure, let's be honest. But Letitia James, y'all, she doesn't have all that controversy. She doesn't have all of those problems. She doesn't have her own state against her. So Letitia James is shaping up to be the person, y'all. She's shaping up to be the person who is truly able to confront Trump and try to thwart his agenda. And as you can see, she's using her power to do so. Let's take a look at what Letitia James had to say about the immigration question. And you can imagine, and as we've already seen, this is her point of view, y'all. This is how she's handling these questions in general. Okay, so let's take a look.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll read a statement. This is a statement regarding the mass deportation orders. So I just want to briefly address the mass deportation orders that we have been reviewing along with other Democratic attorneys general all across this nation. As most of you know, we have been preparing for this moment for some time, which is why there was a quick response to the birthright citizenship executive order. We filed within hours. And there are other announcements that have been coming from Washington regarding immigration issues, and it is well established through long-standing Supreme Court precedent that the United States Constitution prevents the federal government from commandeering states to enforce federal laws. Let me say that again. The United States Constitution prevents the federal government from commandeering states to enforce federal laws. And while the federal government may use its own resources for federal immigration enforcement, the court ruled in Prince, P-R-I-N-T-Z, versus the United States, that the federal government cannot impress into its service and at no cost to itself the police officers police officers of the 50 states. The balance of power between the federal government and state government is a touchstone of our American system of federalism, and the president cannot unilaterally rewrite the Constitution. As New York State's Attorney General, I will enforce our state's law, and I'll be not distracted by all of the noise that's coming from Washington, D.C., and will not sit idly by while the Constitution is being undermined. Again, we are not individuals who are the face of resistance. We are willing to work with the office of President Trump, but when it comes to any violation of the United States Constitution or the Constitution of the state of New York or the rights of vulnerable or marginalized populations, including but not limited to the immigrant communities, we will enforce the law. Thank you so much.
So as you can see, Letitia James, she's ready to be the point guard. She's ready to be the point person. She's like, give me the ball. You know, I'm going to take it to the hoop. She's ready for all the fire or all the smoke, as we would say, right? So what I see here is shaping up to be Letitia James versus Trump. Okay, that is you have the minor players like Fonnie Willis, like Brandon Johnson, a mayor out of Chicago. Alvin Bragg is kind of a non-figure at this point. Letitia James is the big fish, y'all. She's the big fish. She's the prosecutor with power behind her. She is a prosecutor for a major state, and she's going to be the person. The media has already anointed her as the leader of the group of people, the state officials who are going to go after Trump. Now, y'all already know, I say it in every video. This, I don't relish, I don't feel good about the fact that this battle is shaping up, but it is shaping up, and I think it's worth talking about. And I think I enjoy, and I'm honored, honestly, to give you all a place to come to get educated about this, and also for you all to go at it in the comments and express yourselves and have a place to say what you think. One thing I do want to say, y'all, and I got a lot of thumbs down for this, but y'all need to know the truth, y'all. What Letitia James said in her press conference, that the federal government cannot require the states to enforce federal law. Y'all, that's just a fact, okay? That is not my opinion. The federal government cannot go, this is a Supreme Court ruling in the Prince case, as Letitia James said. This is not like, hey, I want it to be this way, or this is not my opinion. This is the law, okay, by the Supreme Court. This is their interpretation of the Constitution. The federal government cannot go to New York and say, New York, use your police to help us catch people who are breaking federal law. New York can offer that. They can agree to cooperate with their resources, but the federal government cannot oblige New York to help the federal government enforce federal law. I often break it down like this. Say you have a mother and a father. The dad says that the bedtime should be 8 o'clock. Mom says, well, when I was a kid, my bedtime was 9 o'clock, okay? So I think 9 o'clock is best. Dad says, no, bedtime should be 8 o'clock. We want these kids in. Okay, so the mom says, okay, you know what? That's your rule. You put them in bed by 8. It's all good, okay? So dad wants them in bed by 8. He has to put them in bed by 8. Let's say one day dad's not home, right? And when he gets home, it's 8:30. Kids are not in bed. And he says to the mom, I thought I told you that I wanted them to be in bed by 8. It's 8:30. What's she going to say? Hey, look, 8 o'clock is your rule. My rule is 9. So you can't make me enforce your rule. If you want them in bed by 8, fine. Just be here to make sure it happens. Because if it's up to me, I'm going to make sure they're in bed by the time that Now, y'all might be thinking, no, married couples, they need to agree. That's not the point. The point is not what is the best way for these things to work. The point is, this is an example of how the Constitution treats the federal government and the states, okay? If the federal government wants federal law to be followed, they can ask for the states' help. But the states can say, no, we're not going to help you enforce your law. And there's nothing the federal government can do about it. Now, we are seeing the Trump administration starting to say, well, okay, well, we're going to withhold funding. We're going to see if that flies, y'all. We're going to see what kind of what kind of tools or what kind of penalties the federal government can have over the states when the states do not assist in enforcing federal law. As of now, it's doubtful what the penalties could be. Okay, so y'all, this is gonna be a developing area of law. This is gonna be very interesting. You know, I'm gonna be here to explain to you and to explain to y'all every step of the way, even when I'm in the world's most loudest. I know most loudest is not a word, but I said it anyway. Even when I'm in the world's most loudest country, y'all. So anyway, y'all, I do thank y'all for listening. I thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for supporting me. Send this video out far and wide, all your family, all your friends. Don't forget to like, as I said earlier. Do comment, do subscribe. Appreciate y'all, love y'all, and I'll see you back in the next one.